Alright, this is Couchtalk with King Teeth. I am your host, King Teeth. Thank you for being back with us. I have a legend sitting right next to me. He has been, and I want to read this actually because I got sent this, and it's Dan Cull, right?
Like a phone call.
Like a phone call. Dan Cull is a music industry veteran and one of the most prolific talent buyers in the U.S. history. Now this is what is real interesting to me. Dan has promoted acts such as Jay-Z, My Chemical Romance, Guns N' Roses, MGK, Kid Cudi, and Snoop Dogg, and so many other names that I could run this list all day. But how we doing?
Doing
today?
great, man.
Doing good?
Couldn't be any better, man.
Thank you for sitting down with me because I think this is going to be a good one for the youth that listen and for the people that's in the industry right now to see the whole picture. You know, from 20 plus years of being in the business and what you learned, we were just talking the type of L's you took, the type of wins you had, but really kept you going and really straightened you out to become a long time veteran in this game. So let's start off. How did you get into the business?
Well, actually, I started by going to Akron University. 5 of my buddies, we all moved to Akron.
Yeah.
We all went to Aurora together in Aurora High School.
Okay.
We all played sports together,
Mm-hmm.
and then we turned basically a big party house, a big animal house.
Oh yeah.
In Akron University, and it was actually called the 420 House on Power Street. And it was a lot of fun. We were DJs. Some of the guys were DJs, and we would set up, some cardboard in the basement with some breakdancing, and just basically throw like the college rave with lights and everything.
Yeah.
And then my brother owned Peabody's at the time, and
Wow.
we were having 200 people at our house every Friday and Saturday, and 50 people like Monday through Sunday every single night. So we would have parties basically 7 days a week, and we were like, we got to turn this into a business.
Yeah.
So my buddy, who actually Josh Cabot, he does Cleveland Pickle.
Okay.
His dad started Scene Magazine, Richard Cabot.
Wow.
And he had connections. Actually, his uncle was Jules Belkin as well from Belkin Productions.
Okay.
And so he was connected. My brother owned Peabody's. So me and him hooked up with 2 of our other friends that were also DJs.
Okay.
And we created a company called Super Dink Productions.
Okay.
And we got into the rave business, actually.
Wow. So that was the first.
That was the first part,
Rave.
actually. Yeah, so I called my brother up. I wanted to rent out Peabody's. And
Now, what year was this?
this was August 23rd. August is my buddy's birthday. August 23rd, 1997.
97.
Yeah,
So
I remember
a year
Charles
after
Chambers.
I was born.
Yes, there you go.
Okay.
Yeah.
So with that being said,
I was in high school when I booked my first DJ. I was living with my mom. Well, actually, no, must have been in between freshman and sophomore year because I was living with my mom, and Charles Chambers called, which is DJ Funk out of Chicago, and he was my first act I'd ever booked was DJ Funk. And I called my brother. I told him I wanted to do a room rental. He couldn't give me a Saturday night, so I was like, "What time's your show end?" He's like, "Well, I got By Accident. They're a big metal band. They're doing a CD release party." And since then, I've done a ton of shows with By Accident myself, and they were like a legendary metal band in Cleveland, local metal band. And so he's like, "Dude, the party doesn't end until like 1 o'clock in the morning. You can't start your show at 1."
Yeah.
I'm like, "That's perfect. 1 o'clock in the morning is perfect." So we had a big party from like 1 to 10 o'clock in the morning at Peabody's, and we had
10 o'clock in the morning.
We had Bad Boy Bill, DJ Funk, Atomic Baby. We had over 1,000 people show up. It broke his attendance record. There was a line all the way down to Hooters, down the East Bank of the Flats. It was like one of the biggest lines on the East Bank's history. Other than we threw another rave actually one time. Went through one with Nick Dunlap. We did like a map plane for Peabody's, and we had it at Peabody's, the Fantasy, and the Euphoria warehouse space, in Euphoria. And it was called Get Freaky, and they had like shuttle buses, and I just helped my buddy out. He was the promoter of the show, but I was the venue, because I was the general manager at the time of Peabody's, so I helped him correlate everything, because they shut them down at the Force Center in Northfield. The fire marshal shut them down.
Really?
So like 2 days beforehand, we had to move it, and you had to bring an egg to Peabody's, and then give you the map, and you could jump on a shuttle bus to one of the places. Some people hated it because there was so big of an attendance that East Bank of the Flats got shut down.
Really?
It was ridiculous. So the shuttle buses were stuck in traffic because so many people showed up.
Yeah.
I think about 5,500, 6,000 people showed up. We had 2,200 go through in and out of the doors at Peabody. We had 600 capacity, and 2,200 had to go in and out to like get them in and get them out to get them in the shuttle buses.
So how do you get that type of numbers? How do you get that massive type of people to come out?
I'm like, that one was like, it's once again like the rave thing in the '90s was what do you call it? Like a phenomenon.
Mm-hmm.
It really was.
Mm-hmm.
Like it was some of the stuff you had to know the right DJs to book, the right music to book.
Okay.
And if you knew what everybody wanted to hear, like for instance, Bad Boy Bill always brought at least 1,000 people with him. You know, you had some other artists like DJ Sneak and other artists that were really big artists that would just draw, just like any market. So like when I owned Peabody's, for instance, I knew electronic music back in the day, but I always had a guy that like a Roger Ganley or Bill Peters that knew metal. There was a guy that was a general manager at Peabody's called Joe Reed that he knew our punk rock scene like you wouldn't believe. I had people that knew the Juggalo market. I had people that knew like Latif, for instance, your dad, that knew hip hop. And Quincy Taylor, he would do all those guys did all my hip hop. Ty Lombardo did like a lot of my Wu-Tang stuff because he started doing all those shows. So I knew a promoter for every, like Packy Malley did all the all the reggae shows. He's the reggae man. Jim Wadsworth's the blues guy for Cleveland. But you had to know
you had to
know the guy, and if you know that guy and that niche, well, that's the way to have the big numbers. You know what I mean? Because they know those people in that market. So I was one of the fans of that market. You know, I eventually became a DJ even myself, just because my buddies were DJing.
Right.
So I became a DJ. And it was funny, one time the Free Times gave a big, huge, full article, blown up, full picture of me as the big DJ. Because I did a big DJ night, but I was really the promoter. And I started out the night each night because I just enjoyed DJing. I wasn't the best DJ on the planet. I've never been a good musician, but I know the numbers, I know the business behind it, and I love the music. Exactly. I enjoy it. Like, I dance like crazy. I enjoy that more than anything in the whole world. So
that's what's up.
Yeah, that's how I got started basically. So
with being the general manager, how long did it take you to build those relationships? Because you was in jazz, you was in hip hop, you was in. How many years did that take? Because I know it takes a while.
Well, when I bought the club, after being the general manager and the booking agent for 2.5 years, it was the one on the East Bank of the Flats. My brother moved it to CSU on East 21st in Euclid. 2 months after he moved it, I bought it off him, but I had 2.5 years of experience, and by those 2.5 years, I had developed all those relationships. I'd say maybe a little under 2 years, but it took me probably 2 years. Excuse me. But at the end of the day, it's with those 2 years, it was Peabody's came with like a little band Bible, you would call it. It would say, listen, we had all these bands, and it would chart how many people they brought, everything else. It also had, my brother would tell me, hey, he was the one that introduced me because he was the booking agent before me. So I got a little bit of an advantage. So he introduced me and everything. So then, after being the agent for 2.5 years, then I bought the place and I was the owner for 5 years. So essentially, and then I was a shareholder with Chris for 3 years, and like helping him for a while.
After you left, you became a consultant.
I became a consultant, and I still stayed as a shareholder. I was a 10% owner too. So I stayed as an owner, but at the same time, I wasn't near like Chris made all the decisions at that point. Then you know that's kind of what happened. But at the end of the day, it's the 5 years that I was the owner of it. You know, I already had the relationships built. That was one of the reasons I wanted to buy the business, was because I knew the business inside out and then some. I knew I was qualified to just, I wanted to basically live there and have a big old party and make a business out of it, and it worked. I had a lot of fun and some of the best times of my life.
That's awesome. So can you tell us the story of your favorite night being the owner?
My favorite night being the owner. Wow, that's a tough one. I can tell you my favorite concert for sure.
Let's hear it.
Your dad was a part of it actually too, which is cool. He would actually, your dad already had Little Flip booked at the venue, and
do you remember the year?
Well, it was the Blueprint 2 tour. I can tell you that. I can tell you that for sure. Just because it was Jay-Z. They end up actually a friend of mine, Anthony Nicolaitis, who works at Live Nation, had called me. He had switched jobs in different venues in Cleveland, and he said, hey, do you want this show? My venue's taken that night. I think he had Robert Randolph or something already at the Fantasy. He's like, so my venue's taken, but I got a hell of a show for you. I'm like, who is it? He's like, Jay-Z, and it's, free concert with Jay-Z.
What?
And I was like, wow, that sounds like amazing. That's amazing. So I called the management up. It was real. They actually, Jay-Z paid Peabody's to play in Cleveland. He gave 700 people free tickets. There was a free guest list ticket. He was principal for a day at one of the principals, or he was principal for a day at one of the high schools in Cleveland. And then he came, and we were the surprise 107.9 location. And Jay-Z performed his longest performance in Cleveland history at Peabody's.
Really?
Yeah, Memphis Bleak was there, Beanie Siegel, the whole Rockefeller family. He performed for like an hour and a half on the Peabody stage.
What?
It was amazing. It was probably one of the greatest concerts I've ever seen. So, and then the crazy thing was he did that early. His show was over by 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
And then what we did was, actually I had a picture with Jay-Z coming, and I loved your dad this much, is that he didn't make the announcement for Little Flip afterwards, and Rockefeller had like 3 parties going on afterwards. And your dad, I cut him into the Jay-Z thing to compensate because Jay-Z was going to hurt his Little Flip sales, and he was one of my biggest promoters that I worked with. So I wanted to make sure I took care of him. I jumped up on stage and made the announcement for Little Flip afterwards to stay, make sure everybody stayed. We have Little Flip coming up. Yeah. Don't worry, we got this. And I missed out my opportunity with my picture with Jay-Z.
Really?
Yeah,
because
it's one of the ones that I actually would have loved to have taken, of course, because it's fucking Jay-Z. Exactly.
And when did he ever
he was like in like 8 SUVs, and he jumps in one of them, and then you don't know which one he did. Yeah. That's how he does it. Yeah, okay. And it was wild. It was an amazing party, and probably the best concert that I've ever thrown, without a doubt.
So you sacrificed a picture with Jay-Z for my father.
I did. Yeah, he's a good dude. He's a good dude.
That is nuts.
Well, he's a good dude. So.
Did the Little Flip do good?
Actually, we lost some money on it. We did.
Really?
We lost some money on the Little Flip show because everybody went to some of the Rockefeller parties and everything. Okay. We made good money. We ended up breaking even on Little Flip. Well, at least your father did. And I made a little bit because I had the bar sales as well going on. He got cut into it, but I had more, but he gets a percentage. Yeah. And I don't even know if you're allowed to do that, so I don't know if that's part of the thing with the bar sentence percentage.
Well, I wanted to know. I wanted to break that
down
a little bit. Yeah. Well, exactly. How do you work?
You work it all different with each promoter. Okay. The more shows you do, the more they're cut in. Okay. Simple as that. Yeah. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, he was probably doing 20 shows a year with me at that point. So actually more than that. I forgot. We did a weekly on Wednesday. So he was doing 50 shows a year just on Wednesdays plus my other shows. Yeah. So we're doing 65, 70 shows a year. Yeah. So at the end of the day, once again one of the reasons why I was jumping on stage.
Oh yeah, for sure. Because he was a good one. He was bringing in money.
He was my money maker. Yeah. He really was. So at the end of the day, that's basically how it works. But I think he probably broke even after I cut him in on what he needed to get cut in with Jay-Z, and then I made a little bit. But it was one of those legendary nights, that's for sure. Yeah. One of the ones you don't forget about.
No, you can't. You can't. I mean, that is a story for Cleveland history. Yeah. And you're a part of that. So how does it feel to be a part of Cleveland history? I mean, you're in the rave. You're in the rave book. You're in Peabody's. You're in all these fixtures.
I remember it was Spontaneous Production was the first ravers, like the first rave production company, and then I know like Baseheads, and then we came out shortly after that, like then Sphere and those different production companies, it's just really neat that we had. I think it was just a really cool movement that was going on back then, as far as the 90s and the rave scene. As far as Cleveland music and being involved in Peabody's and doing guerrilla music.
And I want to get into that because that was your production company.
Yeah, the production company I owned. Those two things were some of, obviously, other than my wife and children, those are the most fulfilling things other than that I've ever done in my life.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
that's amazing. So let's talk about guerrilla music. What is that? How did you start it? Why did you start it?
Scene Magazine called me up and said, and that's ironic, but they called me up and said, hey, why does like Sponge play at Peabody's and like 800 people show up, and then they play at the Agora and 50 people show up? Okay. What's going on? What makes you the guerrilla promoter? And I said, wow, I really like that name. They're like, well, how about we do a cover story on you? I was like, that's awesome, please. Yeah. And then they started getting ready to give me like preemptive what the questions were going to be and stuff. And I was like, I cut the story off because I was like, shit, I'm about to give up all my trade secrets to my competitors. Yeah. And this is a bad idea. Yeah. But I love the name that they gave me. So that's actually how I came up with the name of the company. Scene Magazine was going to do a story on me. Yeah. And the whole purpose of it basically was, essentially, I got the local bands that were the biggest bands in the market to play national shows. A lot of venues, depend on the national act to support themselves with the ticket sales. Well, the thing is, a lot of local bands would love the opportunity to play with one of those national acts so they can build their resume up. So I believe that the locals support the nationals and the nationals support the locals. That's what Peabody's motto was. Okay. So at the end of the day, we'd have a lot of opening bands for Sponge. Yeah. But we'd have some groups bring like 200 people, more than Sponge would even bring. Really? But they would, they could do it. It was a Saturday night. Local bands drop band on the weekends. Yeah. And, Sponge would play, and you know, at the end of the day, they probably brought, you know, 75 to 125 every night themselves. You know, we'd bring more for Sponge fans than your regular venue also, because there was more marketing out there.
Okay.
We had 50 people out there selling tickets with all the bands and all their marketing people and all the flyers. And
yeah.
It wasn't just, you know, the street team of the venue.
Yeah.
You know, each show had its own street team.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? So the local sales and everything.
Why is that
that's how I
dying now? In this day and age, because you don't see street teams just.
Can I be honest?
Yeah. This is why we're here. This is Couchtalk. This is honesty.
I get a lot of messages to my guerrilla music page because we shut it down about 3.5 years ago. And one thing we were doing, we were ridiculed for this as well.
Okay.
But we were teaching and educating groups on how to promote themselves and sell tickets.
Okay.
But there's, you know, actually just a small group of people, but very good with SEO and the internet, that didn't believe in ticket sales.
Really?
They don't think groups should sell tickets. Now, it all depends on the market. You know, the indie music specifically I would say, if you're going to stereotype, would be the most against ticket sales.
Why?
They too cool, I would say, to sell tickets.
Okay.
To be honest with you. In the metal scene, for instance, they're hardworking.
Yeah.
So they believe in hip hop, same thing. You believe in hustling.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's everybody wants to get the word out there and their music out there. But it was one of those reasons I shut the business down. To be honest with you, it was just that part of it. And just the change of me being, you know, older, and I got another business opportunity that was bigger. Okay. With real estate.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
I gotta get into that.
Yeah, it's the best industry that you can possibly get into is real estate,
exactly.
And that's why, like Drake said, I want to tattoo real estate on his head, on his face, in that last song. It's probably why. Because it's
the silent money, but it's the real money.
At the end of the day, and I have 4 kids, so I was like, it was one of the other reasons. But you know, it's if you go on there, for instance, you can see Guerrilla Music said never pay to play website, I think it is. Okay. And at the end of the day, if you're selling tickets, you're not paying. You're selling the tickets to bring the fans out there. If you're buying the tickets, you're trying to cheat the system. You're trying to get a better time slot. But essentially, if you go out there and you're bringing your fans out there and you're hustling, you're helping everybody on the show. It's the first group on the show or the last group on the show. Everybody works together as a whole. That was one of my favorite things about guerrilla music was that in like, let's say, like normally in sales, for instance, let's say you're buying a car. Well, if you buy a car and the guy that's, you know, selling you the car, either going to get his top commission or a lower commission based on your deal. Yeah. Well, with guerrilla music, with my agents that worked for me and me as a promoter, ironically, the only time we ever got complaints is when we were losing money and had to dish out the money. True. You know what I mean? True. When we made a lot of money, everybody was happy because everybody had the same goal at each one of the local concerts. You know, everybody wants to have fun, and the way to do that is to pack the club. Right. You know, the venue wants as many people there as possible. Right. The bands want as many people there as possible. Right. The fans want as many people there as possible, and so does the promoter. Yeah. So everybody has the same common goal. Common goal. You know what I mean? Yeah. And in business, that's rare. Yeah. You know what I mean? It is rare. It is. So that was one of my favorite parts about it, and that's one thing that we used to teach and educate everybody, and that's one of the reasons it's dying out, is because I had a force of 140 part-time employees and 24 full-time. I had 165 people out there. One time we did 52 shows in one weekend. You know what I mean? 52 shows in one weekend and all throughout the country, and we were teaching. We're talking 10 bands. It's 520 bands in 1 week, teaching people in our movement about helping local bands and helping support local bands. Yeah. It wasn't about buying tickets. It was about going out there and teaching. One time I even taught a guy over the phone, while on the phone, how to sell tickets at a mall. And at the mall, it's really hard. You got to really sell tickets through friends and family members and have them help you sell tickets because it's your network. That's why they have to sell the tickets instead of the promoters, because we don't have their phone numbers. We don't have their emails. We don't go to your family dinner. Yeah. You know what I mean?
We don't have your fan base.
We don't have your fan base. You do.
You do.
You know, exactly. Yeah. So that's one of the reasons that groups have to really sell tickets. Yes. So, but at the end of the day,
and that's why it makes sense.
Exactly, because they have to get their network. So, but at the mall one time, I taught somebody how to do it. The way to do it is to actually, first of all, you get their attention. Then after you get their attention, you point to what you're doing. Now, so just like your eyes did, you're gonna read it. Then you read it to them and say, hey, and you explain to them, and you try to put it in something like, hey, we're Lady Gaga meets Metallica, or something like that.
That can compare to. Yeah.
And we put on an amazing light show. You should see, we have dancers dancing in boxes, and you should see it's crazy party. It's going to be wherever you tell them. Let's say it's at the Agora, or wherever it might be, whatever city they're in. And this one was in Portland. It was in Portland, Maine. What was the hell of the venue called? God, it's been that long. I think it was called the Big Easy.
Okay.
And yeah, it was called the Big Easy. And just making sure. I did a lot of shows at different venues, in different markets. But anyways, so what happened was, I told him, and I walked him through, and I said, hey, no, you gotta do it this way. I was explaining to him the way you gotta give him the comparison and explain to him how to sell tickets. And one of the other most important things is, you said, hey, instead of saying, hey, can you buy a ticket? Hey, can you come check out my show?
Yeah.
I want to know why. Because once you say, can you come check out my show, everybody's going to say yes.
Yeah.
Everybody.
Yeah.
Okay? And then after they say yes, then you pull out the tickets out of your pocket. And you say, awesome, how many do you want?
Yeah.
You don't say they want one, maybe want 5.
Yeah.
So then you say, awesome, how many do you want? Then that's when you're going to get your real rebuttal. But at least you already got an initial yes.
Yeah.
And I teach groups that and how to actually really sell them.
Yeah.
And that's the sales technique once again. But that's once again those hustling things. If you're going to be at the mall doing it, you might as well do it right. You know what I mean? If you're going to be there, try to get. If you at least have the ability, or you're going to shows that are your niche, for instance, that's the best way. If you go to the same show and you wait at the end of the show and you do that all night long, eventually after they see you 5 or 6 times in the same niche in the same community, they're gonna buy tickets just because they keep seeing you.
Okay.
You know what I mean? My brother invented this back in like 1988. It was my first concert. It was the band called The Act. It was actually Richard Patrick with Filter and 9 Inch Nails. He had rented out the club from Peabody's from Dewey Forward, and he's like, "Hey, you guys have 200 tickets." He wanted to sell tickets so that he could make a cassette. He was using it as income. You know what I mean? He put a deposit down on the venue, but then he got the physical hard tickets so he could use it to buy T-shirts, to buy studio time, and start running the band like a business.
Yeah.
Actually, my brother wrote a book called, and I helped him write it.
Yeah.
Called 5 Steps to Becoming the Biggest Band in Town. It's Rock Your City. And the thing is, it teaches you about that, how to run your band like a business.
Yeah.
And at Guerrilla, that's one of the other things we did too. We managed bands. We charged a small fee, and we had them pay through their ticket sales and through their shows, and through them, the merchandising sales and teaching them how to run a band like a business. Yeah. And we would take the fee out of them running a band like a business, so that they understood that they're not just artists; they're entrepreneurs.
Yeah, and I think that's the most preventable right now, that musicians and artists are businesses and are their own brands, but it's the lack of knowledge they have of how to get started. Like, you see the bigger artists, they learn once they get that one big hit and they got money rolling in, they're like, oh, let me get this LLC, let me put this back here, let me put this over there. But when it's like the ground level, nobody's teaching how do you even, if you don't have the first hit, how do you start working as a business and not as an individual trying to get on?
Your own connections. Yeah.
So,
your own community. You start right. Everybody always goes, I always hear this a bazillion times. 1, we don't sound like anybody. And 2, if we were just not in this city and we were in this city instead, we'd be so much bigger. That's some bullshit. And why it's bullshit is because you're always going to be bigger in your own city first, because you have your own network, your own people to help you. Yeah. Just like, Macklemore's done, with the city of Seattle. Yeah. MGK did it with Cleveland. Yeah. You know what I mean? There's certain people that have just got that crazy backing in their city. Yeah. And they did it by just doing it there first.
Being in it.
Yeah, being in it.
I remember watching MGK. This was probably 10 years ago, seeing MGK at Warrensville High School. Yeah. Just doing a show.
Exactly.
And crowd loving him, kids loving him. He's probably like 19 or so. I don't know how.
Probably 19.
Probably around 19. Yeah. And he was just in it, but then he wouldn't be because he was already kind of buzzing a little bit around the city, but he was outside with everybody, talking with them, chatting with them.
He's still doing that too.
And he does. And he does. What made you start working with MGK? Because if people don't know, this is the guy who actually put on the XX Merry Christmas, the Xmas, MGK, that was huge.
This will be our 3rd year doing it.
Third year. I'm
one of the guys that helped with the event.
So what made you start doing that?
So my business partner, Troy Nethkin, we've been partners for a long time now. We were doing shows together at Peabody, so we've been together for about 15, 16 years now.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's great.
We've been doing stuff from some Busy Bone days with Bone Thugs and Harmony. Yeah. We did a tour with him together back in the day. We've done a lot of things together. We even started a company called Earth Entertainment together. Okay. He's got a great connection with MGK. Him and MGK are like this. Okay. They're really, really good friends. Yeah. Actually, Troy was the first person. He was hanging out with MGK at a show backstage, and he's like, dude, how about you play at Peabody's, man? I'll give you, $1,000 to play at Peabody's. Why don't you go ahead headlining? He's like, really? So it was his first real paid gig. It was at Peabody's with Troy. I was his partner on the show because we partnered everything since back in the day. And basically, that's really how I do the MGK stuff. I handle some of the behind the scenes stuff, but really Troy, his relationship with MGK is off the hook, and MGK is one of those artists like Offspring that just are loyal to their promoters from promoter record. Like, he does that not just here in Cleveland, which is awesome, but there's a company called Living Legends that he still works with as well too, because they were promoters of record too, and it's just like he does that all throughout the country, and there's not that many artists that like stick up for those not Live Nation or AEG companies. You know what I mean? A lot of times they buy out the whole tours, and now granted, don't get me wrong, you don't get pressure from them by all means, of course, but the thing is that he's always been loyal to all those promoters around the country. That's awesome. He's one of those artists, you know what I mean? So it's been awesome. His success, he's been, what do you call it, so humble. It's ridiculous, man. He's like the same kid he was when he was 19.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
That's for sure.
So,
I mean, same love, same energy he has on stage and off.
He's actually become even a better performer, which is amazing.
Oh yeah, every year I see him, he gets better, and he wants to put on the up and coming acts in the city. Like he put on Wild Kelvin on it, Doughboy, even some artists I didn't even know about, and it was like that. That's just being in tune.
Same reason he put on Little Skies. That was his decision, not ours.
Really?
Yeah, he wanted to do that.
Really?
Yeah. Even though with promoters, I'm the one that booked him actually Troy booked him through the management.
Yeah.
But I knew William Morris, one of the agents, real well. And so we ended up booking Little Skies. But one of the reasons, the main reason was MGK.
That's awesome. That's dope. That's really dope.
Yeah.
So talk about just moving around the country and doing different shows when you were really moving a lot. What was some of the downfalls of being out of Cleveland? What were some of the great moments? Talk about that.
Well, downfalls, you lose some control. Obviously, when it's not in your market, you lose some control. You try to train your people the best you possibly can, but when you have as many shows as over 50 in one weekend, you do lose some control. So that was some of the hard parts and the downfall. And that's some of the fun part of being in your city and being at your own event, because you have a little bit more control. But I've had some phenomenal people. There's a guy named, for instance, Scott Beggs that I worked with in Dallas, Texas. I've had him run a whole music festival for me before with multiple stages, and if there was ever a problem, he called me with the solution after he solved it.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? So
you need that. Yeah.
Well, you don't always get that.
No.
You know what I mean? You don't always get that.
They call you every 20 minutes.
Yeah.
About another problem.
And that's unsolvable. So So at the end of the day, it's like, some of the downfalls of the actual around the country piece. Some of the fun parts, when I first started the company, I was a single guy, I wasn't married yet. I flew around the country 25 out of 26 weekends. When you travel that much with a family, it's a bummer. I travel for sales right now, and it's still, even when I travel even 1 or 2 days, it's I miss the family, what I mean? At the end of the day, we don't have a bunch of kids though. When you got to go out of town every single nonstop you're traveling, you don't care. So it was just a bunch of fun. I got to see the whole country. I was doing shows in Hawaii. So
what?
Yeah. So it was.
So favorite place other than Cleveland, of course.
Dallas.
Really?
Dallas. I say it immediately. Once again, probably because Scott introduced me to a lot of people down there. The people are just awesome in Dallas, Texas. I say it like that because I had like an office down in Deep Elm for a little while there with doing the Dallas Music Festival. We grew it really, really big. One year we had it like shut down. We had like over 7,000 people show up down in Deep Elm for the Dallas. It might have even been more than that. Now I think it might have been over 10,000 people. It's been a while, but anyways, we've had some really, really, really big events down there. Just awesome employees. Great people, great venues. There was actually the greatest venue in the country, and I feel bad about this one because I feel like my company is part of why they went out of business.
Really?
We were kind of a little extra gravy for them. You know what I mean? It's like they were already making always just breaking even. So when you're always just breaking even, and our shows were a profit and extra shows for their staff to have more money too, and everybody makes more money because we would do an extra 2 to 4 shows a month there.
Wow.
You know what I mean? So. But it was the best local venue in the entire country called Curtain Club in Texas. And since we've been out of business, they lasted about 3 years after Guerrilla.
So when y'all had to step
well, I
back.
think it just hurt them. It's not that we put them out of business by all means, because we were just helping.
But that's a big relationship.
It was a big relationship.
Yeah.
It was huge. They were so good to us. You know, we've had times before where, you know, your Scott couldn't make a show, and even the owners would take care of it for us to make sure there was great relationships with the bands. They were just so good. Like, if a band brought 200 people 3 times there in the venue, and you had the 200 people actually in the crowd not buy the tickets, but you actually had the people there, they had an artist come in and just draw like a picture of, they'd take a picture of the band, but then they would make a real drawing of the band, and they got it up on the wall.
Wow.
And there was like a wall of local fame of the Dallas. Like, I saw Polyphonic Spree there before.
Yeah.
They're like, I don't know how many members in that band, but it's a huge band, and they play at the arenas there now and sell like multiple days.
Really?
But I saw them there back in the day with 500 people. It was just like, it's that club. It's like the Peabodys of Dallas, the CBGBs type of thing, you know what I mean? But it was for locals. It was just for locals.
Yeah.
It wasn't even really for, they didn't even do national bands for like a decade there.
Really?
Yeah, it was just
and they were
for
doing good.
At one point they were doing really, really good too, but back in the day there was more bands than there are today. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So back in the day, it just, we're losing the band thing. And the reality of it is, it's simple. You know, if you want to buy a hip hop beat, you know, it's $20 and you can get a subscription and write as many songs as you want for the month. If you want to get into the, you know, have a rock band, you're looking at $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, I don't know, tons of money to get all the equipment and to get everything rolling. So there's a different entry level.
Very true.
So
very true.
I think that's one of the reasons giving me that the way it goes. But it's in, what's the word for it? It's never going to go away though.
Yeah.
By all means. You know what I mean?
Never. Do you think it's going to pick back up ever?
I can't, everything goes like this in trends, you know what I mean? So I believe that it will pick back up. Rock and roll's never going to go anywhere. Hip hop's never going to go anywhere. No music's going to go anywhere. You know what I mean? Classical's never going to go anywhere. You know what I mean? So
there's somebody that's going to want to listen to this.
Yeah, even emo music's died out, but it's never going to go anywhere. People are still like emo. You know what I mean? Whatever it is, there's always that group of person that just has had phenomenal moments or great concerts that they went to with that niche, and they're never going to give it up. Like, for instance, 311, if they ever lost its luster, I'd still, like, when I listen to those music, you know, I think of, you know, my younger days. And, you know, it reminds you of certain memories, and it makes you, you know, what do you call it, reminisce and just enjoy.
Yeah.
You know?
That's awesome. Yeah. So, I want to talk a little bit about relationships, because I think right now I'm 23, and a lot of people that listen to this are around that age. We're building those relationships now. But you say you've had relationships with my father over 15 years, relationships with your business partner over 15 years. How do you maintain and prosper with relationships, especially around the country?
It's real easy. You just think win-win.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like, you know,
that is huge.
I can always go ask anybody of all my buddies for a favor I ever need one, because I do favors for my buddies. But I do it first before I even ask. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just, if you give, you will get.
Yeah.
That's the relationship.
I love that.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, because you're always feeling good about the person. Anytime you think, well, oh, he did that. Oh, he was willing to do that. I didn't even ask him for that.
You want to sell some freaking tickets to a show, go support a bunch of other local groups.
Very true.
You'll start selling tickets real quick.
Yeah.
Because you're buying other people's tickets. They're going to want to support you because you're supporting them.
That's
the way it works.
Very true. So, a little bit about real estate. What made you get into that?
Well, I knew I wanted to be a professional athlete when I was in high school.
Really?
Yeah. And then
football, basketball?
Football or baseball. I had a batting cage in my backyard.
Really?
I was pretty good at football.
That's awesome.
What
position?
I was a wide receiver. I was a running back, but really I should have been a wide receiver. I was in a small high school.
Okay.
But so I wanted to be a walk-on. I walked on Akron U only a couple days, really, because I realized shortly that this was not going to work out. I was going to be a punching bag. And so I got out of that, and I realized that business management was going to be for me. And I always knew that if sports didn't work out, business management and real estate was going to be my thing. I've known that since I was 18. That was actually my major and my minor at Akron U.
Okay.
So I've always known that, maybe because my grandmother was in real estate, my dad loved real estate.
So did you learn it early?
Well, my dad died when I was 1. However, It's just in my blood. Like I had my first employee when I was 7 years old.
Yeah. Really?
Yeah, I used to do trade shows, like baseball card and comic book trade shows in hotel conference rooms.
Yeah.
At the age of 11.
So you was always hustling.
I was a hustler. I was in my blood.
Yeah.
It's literally in my blood.
That gets you going.
It does.
Okay.
It does. It's just in my blood, and I have a lot of energy. As you guys can tell, I like to talk.
Yeah.
I don't drink coffee. I have a lot of natural energy. I just have a lot of energy, and I think it comes from my dad.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, it's one of those things that it's just deep rooted in me. You know, at the end of the day, I enjoy business. I enjoy the real estate aspect of it. And once I got into real estate big time, I think the highest point I owned about 56 places at once.
Really?
Yeah.
So
I sold a lot of stuff
are
off. These are singles, doubles, 6 units, triplets, quadruples, stuff like that. Those are the type of buildings that I owned. Some land we ended up flipping to an oil company. Stuff like that I ended up doing that I've now flipped about 85 homes.
What?
Yeah, and but I've been doing it. We were doing it while I ran Guerrilla. My brother ran the real estate piece of it.
Yeah. And
then when I stopped doing Guerrilla, we were doing horses full time to do it as well.
So how important was your brother to your success in general?
Oh, 100%.
100%?
100%. Yeah, 100%.
Would he say the same thing?
He wouldn't want to take as much credit because he's so humble.
Okay.
But at the end of the day, he's a professional poker player now.
Really?
Yeah, he's doing really one of the hottest poker players in America right now.
Really?
Yeah, he's doing really, really well.
I just living all types of lives.
Yeah. So he goes to work for. He was my mentor.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Not growing up without a dad.
Yeah.
He was a mentor to begin with. But then buying his concert club that I ran beforehand, and he gave me my first opportunity. The last time I had a boss was my brother 20-some years ago.
Really?
Other than the job I'm doing now, it was the last time. It was 20-some years ago with my brother.
Yeah.
I've been self-employed my whole life.
Yeah.
So
how scary was that?
Being self-employed?
Yeah.
Yeah. Certain people are built for it.
Okay.
It's risk versus reward. I've always built with when I've been doing my entrepreneur stuff, because I'm like a serial entrepreneur. I've always built like safety nets.
Okay.
Like if this shit happens, then it's gonna catch me here. If that shit happens, it's gonna catch me here.
Yeah.
And I always had a safety net.
Okay.
And I got like plan A to Z. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because you got to be able to call an audible.
Yeah.
You got to go to the line and go, all right, the defense is up. The defense is up.
This is not what we were expecting.
We're gonna do a pop pass.
Yeah.
Here it is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
I agree.
It is what it is. Like you got to figure it out. And that's kind of how I've always ran my businesses. I've been able to adapt to change.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to talk about. How did you? Was it just natural for you to just be like, I need to know how to adapt, or was it some losses you had to take that's like, oh, I can't go back to this? What really made you start adapting and just transitioning as you get older, as you have kids? What made you just start transitioning and adapting so well? Because you just stay so relevant.
Well, as far as the music business piece of it, the way I've stayed relevant was, and especially when I was running Guerrilla, I was extremely relevant, and it was because I listened to the bands. You know what I mean? And when you're in it, I'll be honest, I don't know nearly as much right now as I did 3 years ago.
Really?
Yeah, 3 years ago. Well, when I say 3 years ago, I knew the latest of everything, and the latest bands of everybody as well, because I was talking to the bands every single week. I don't talk to them as much as I do, or I don't nearly talk to them like I was, because I was talking to 100 bands a day.
Wow.
So what you need to do, though, is you listen, you know what I mean, and actually, find out, like, all the best things that we ever did at Guerrilla Music and teach other bands, we didn't come up with that shit ourselves. The bands did it, we found it to be successful, and then we told other bands about it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We didn't invent that shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I always told the booking agents, listen, make sure you listen, find out why they're doing this. There's certain things that worked. Like, for instance, like any band that we managed, we would have 50 to 60 people help them sell tickets, not just 50 or 60 people to sell tickets to 50 or 60 people helping sell tickets that all had 5 tickets apiece. And then if you sold all 5 tickets, you got yours for free. Yeah. You know what I mean? So those are the different things that we would motivate people. And then we'd have a checkboard. There would be like 60 people there, and they all had to turn in their tickets like 3 days before the show. And then when you missed it, 'cause we knew 30 of them were going to check in on that day. Then we get another 15 the next day, and we'd get the last 15 the day before the show. And then probably even 2 the day of that are running their money down the day of the show for us. You know what I mean? but that's just the way it worked.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But you had to have that was one of the system. But once again, how we came up with that, even though it was like a system we kind of implement with all the management, we just found a band that we asked the band, we said, hey, by the way, they sold like 300 and something tickets at this festival. We're like, how the hell did you do that?
Yeah.
Actually, I remember the band. It was Jackie. She's in Mushroomhead now.
Okay.
It was one of the first groups I ever managed, actually. She sold at the Cleveland Music Festival. She showcased for like 10 record labels for one of her first shows she ever performed. And she sold over, was it 225 tickets? She had like 75 walk-ups. She had like 300 people there. And there was Ben Yellen was the headliner, and she brought way more people than him. And he was like a Kiss FM artist, and she brought way more people.
Yeah.
And the thing was, I asked her afterwards, I said, hey, by the way, I forgot. You know, because I was managing the artist, so I was like, how do we do all this? And her and her dad showed me they had like 60 people helping us sell tickets.
Wow.
Yeah, because they had a bet network.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Same thing the way Mushroomhead did it back in the day. They had a big network, and you know they sold tickets back in the day when they were selling out the Grog Shop and moving up to Peabody's and so on. It wasn't just a phenomenon right away.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And that's what I want to say to all these artists coming up. Get your team. Get the people that really want to support your music out there working for you and helping you, and make sure they're taken care of. Because people aren't just going to do anything for free. No. People aren't just going to keep doing stuff as just a hope that you make it. People, so you got to really, but as an artist, you can't expect things to just happen and pop off for you like overnight. That's just not going to happen. So you start on the ground level. Like I have an artist who I did an interview with named Wolf. He is one of those people who on the ground level sets his team apart from everybody else because he works on the ground, the streets. Like whenever he has a show, he has 5 or 10 people just walking around, like handing out his stuff, handing out his merch, handing out his being out there, getting tickets sold. Like, but that's how you get from the Grog Shop to the Peabody's to the Staples Center. You know, that's how you start moving.
Your dad built up the Wednesday night hip hop night at Peabody's, and it blew up like right away. He was out there nonstop, always flying every show and everything. Every club night he ever rocked in Cleveland, it was just literally he shut it down. Literally.
Yeah, but he has that itch about him too when it comes to the being out and passing out flyers, and especially back then when it was very, very important because social media wasn't there yet. It was just, but he was the only, exactly. And he would be the one out there. I truly believe he put pressure on all the other promoters to get out there because they didn't want to be out there to get out there. But he was like, that was what I wanted to do.
That's why his shows were more successful.
Exactly. But it's not rocket science, and it's not.
It's hard work.
It's hard work. And I think that's what a lot of artists are missing these days. It's just the pure hard work of not just the studio hard work, but the street teams, the putting it together to make you a business. Like we talked about earlier, it's a business. It's not just you and a song and then you blow up and now you're on Def Jam, you know, because even if you're on Def Jam, you can still have shows that don't pack out because you don't have the team that's really going out there to get it. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And I think every artist, not every artist is talented, but a lot of talented artists get caught up in the wanting to be famous, wanting to be the guy, don't want to be out here working, and then they start falling off because they don't want to put their team to work, and then being the leader, showing how to work. So with that being said, what makes you keep going even now?
Well, like I had an artist hit me up this week. He's one of my favorite artists, Young Cap, here out of Cleveland.
Yeah, I love him. Shout out Young Cap. Get on the couch, man.
There it is, man. He's a great artist, and I wish him the best. And I always try to give everybody ideas. But like, for instance, an idea I gave him this week was I told him, listen, reach out to some studios. Spider Studios, if you can bring him other clients because you have some clout here in the market now that you've been pushing it, bring other artists to him, and then maybe he throws you a free song because you gave him an artist, now he's gonna make money off of. Then gives you one song, or maybe he gives you a discount or whatever. Yeah. Work out a deal with a studio that you can get into. Yeah. And then I was like, work to do the same thing. I was telling him to do the studio, and then I also told him, what was the other one that I told him? I might just look at my phone to see what I just said to him. But it was
this is real life right here.
Yeah, it was did I say to him right here? It was, but it was just, I wanted to give him some good ideas. Here it is. To do the studio to get to one song, and then I also told him to get a video production. There's a team, Cleveland Reynolds. You know, I know that they're just trying to get him with the bands right now. And once again, if you can bring him, you know, hip hop artists or other groups, you know, he'll give you a free video if he can do a video with somebody else, or give you a super cheap one. And just cover his costs because you made money on a different one. You know what I mean? So think like a, you know, an entrepreneur. You know, if you can bring referrals or other business, and you have that ability to do so as an artist, you know, it's kind of like any business. It's like, I take Shakeology every morning. It's a protein shake, right? But if you sign up more people, you make money and things like that. The music business is no different. You can bring business to somebody else. Guess what? They'll pay you for it. So as an artist, if you don't have the money, bring some barter. You know what I mean? My brother, for instance, at Fast Track Recording, back where 9 Inch Nails recorded their first album, they were just talking about them because 9 Inch Nails made the Hall of Fame. And the thing was is that the way my brother got his first studio time with them, he painted the studio. And he got like 120 hours for painting the whole studio. Yeah, my brother was a painter at the time, so he went down there and he painted the freaking studio. Don't just ask for fucking studio time. Go fucking use your labor. And make
your
it work.
Skill set, whatever you can do, your connections, whatever, and make it happen.
Because that's what I was explaining to Cap, is that like right now, especially nowadays, it's like you need more content because the social media ability and the streaming and all the stuff, the way they make money now. And that's what I mean by about 3 years ago, that knowing more than now, because streaming has changed the game so much in the last 3 years. It's wild. Like,
break that down for me.
Well, to be frank, it's. I wish I knew more. If I was full time, 100% in the music game right now, I would be researching streaming like crazy to know everything inside out and then some about it, because that's the wave of the future. You know, even I don't want to be honest with you, I don't even want to pay for cable TV anymore, because I was about to try to watch the fight the other night with McGregor, and now that I just switched from AT&T to Cox, you have to have ESPN Plus and you sign up the Disney Plus and all that bullshit to stream it. And I don't want to stream. If I'm going to stream shit, get rid of cable, I might as well just stream
everything.
I might as well stream everything. So I'm about to get in with the whole wave of the future. I'm like, man, it looks like I'm about to be streaming. You know what I mean? But that's when I'm realizing that it's literally happened to me today. I'm not even kidding, that I've realized that TV's going that way. It's because the whole business is being monetized now with streaming, including movies and TV and music. It's all going through streaming. So at the end of the day, that's where it's at now. Instead of, you know, that's going to be literally the modern day distribution. You know what I mean?
So with the shift, how did people not see it coming, and then how did people adjust well? Like, do you have any examples of people who adjusted well to the streaming compared to the original, to traditional?
The record labels really
took it.
Oh no, they really were so happy about the streaming. The reason streaming so big now is because that's how they got rid of the pirating. You know what I mean? Was through streaming. So you can stream now instead of pirate. You don't need to pirate because you can stream. Why pirate if you can stream? And then they got to monetize it through advertising. So actually, the record labels really they figured it out finally again. And instead of taking the red, they're back in the black because of streaming. So that's why the wave of the future, whoever's writing the checks out and you're making money, there's going to be more checks written to that area. As soon as it's losing money, less checks are going to be written to that area. You know what I mean? That's why I always tell people, like, you know, the people that are the songwriters and the people that have already had big checks written to them from record labels, you know, those are the people you want to work with, because at the end of the day, those executives want to write a check to the same oil well. That oil well guy, it's not dried up yet. Oh, okay, I'll take some more oil from that well. You know what I mean? That's why it's so hard to break into the business as well, because there's already so many wells already drilled. You know what I mean?
I get that. So how many artists, other managers, owners in the industry reach out to you just for, just like Cap did, just reach out to you just to see what you have to say?
Well, I get it all the time on my Facebook page when I go and update it and all that and stuff. And whenever I get involved in my Guerrilla page, just like from doing the MGK show, and then I did the Chip show at the Odeon with my new EventWorks ticketing platform.
We're gonna talk about that.
So I because of getting more involved in that and just reading my Guerrilla, I hadn't been on my Guerrilla music page. I realized it was like over a year and a half, and then I had all these messages, so I replied back to them. But just people like Young Cap that I've kept really close to me, and connections. I still get artists that I've done that, and a lot of groups that I managed back in the day. They know that they can call me anytime. I told them for life, you can call. I had a group from Texas drove up the other day, literally, and they just surprised me. Didn't even know it was coming. And I had lunch with them at Town Hall twice, and we just bullshit. I got him a show at the Odeon too.
Really?
I had him open up at the Odeon. What did he open up for? I forget the band he opened up for, but he played first. And I called Chris Stark and I was like, dude, you gotta do me a favor. This guy, he's a solo artist. He's got his own drum machine. He's gonna do it all himself, and he's gonna perform a show. He's gonna give him like 15 minutes even, and he got to perform 15 minutes at the Odeon. It's like historic for him too. Drove in from
Didn't know what he was
I can't pronounce the fucking city. Armadillo. There we go.
Yeah.
That's dope. It was pretty cool. So it was really neat. He surprised me out of nowhere. I managed him for like a little over a year, helped him produce some songs, and I was really happy for him. I stay in touch with people like that. To certain people that we've just been really good friends with. You know what I mean? Like, I have a friend of mine at William Morris that we haven't, other than this Little Skies thing he helped me with recently, we really haven't done business in forever, but we always talk. You know what I mean? I stay friends with everybody. That even my record label buddies that I used to go to music festivals with, we still text each other just to see how the family is and all that kind of stuff. And it's one of the ways to also continue to cultivate those relationships, because at the end of the day, you never know. I've been in the music business a long time. Who knows if I ever opened up, I'm definitely thinking about, especially because of Ventworks, of opening up a production company again.
Really?
It's because the company will protect the patent I have, and the patent will protect the company. So
we're talking real business now.
Exactly.
Okay.
So at the end of the day, I'm thinking about doing the production company thing again, which is really cool that we're doing this podcast today too. The thing is that you never know when it'll happen, and the thing is, and that's just not even in real estate or any business, even for instance the security business that I sell for Virtual Guard. It's different people. For instance, we do celebrities' homes and things like that. We secure them. So even in this music business, it's good to, once again, you never know. Exactly. You might sell something else to them. You know what I mean? Or, you might be able to do something for them and help them out. You know what I mean? In some way, shape, or form. So I try to keep all my bridges open as much as I possibly can. I even teach that to my kids. I have thousands of connections, and I plan on keeping them all open because, at the end of the day, that's the way to run a business. You always 100%. Think win-win and do for others what you'd want to be. It's like the golden rule. Treat others how you want to be treated.
I agree.
That's how business rolls.
And that's how longevity happens. I agree. So talk about your business. What's the new business you're doing?
So the new business is called EventWorks Live. It's eventworkslive.com. I'm sorry.
And we'll put that in the description.
www.eventworks.live. There we go. And so that's what it is. It's EventWorks. It's a ticketing platform. It specializes for local bands, but it's for anything. It could be for a high school reunion, to a comedy show, to a magician show, to a UFC fight. It could be for, but it really specializes in for bands. You can upload the flyer. The groups can get the flyer. There's algorithms built in that actually change the time slots according to ticket sales. And also,
is it all online?
It's all online. It's eventually going to be an app called EventWorks as well. We're using it as the website beforehand, just to basically to start it off. And we want to use it as a ticketing platform. We'll probably always keep the website even with the app. But we're about to start. We're actually having a meeting tomorrow at the Old Angle here in Cleveland, and all the partners are getting together to talk about all the content building and all of our next steps for the company. We've really, already tested the model, and it's working phenomenal. Been very successful. So we're building the team to roll it out. It's just like we're kind of like EventWorks right now is like that local band that doesn't have a big fan base but just has their local following, and we have to now build our team, and we have to build an infrastructure to succeed. That's where we're at with EventWorks right now. I'm looking forward to it. And like my other endeavors, I plan for it to be very successful.
That's amazing. All right, so we got a little housekeeping before we get out of here. On Couchtalk with King Teeth, we always do Teeth's 5. So Teeth's 5, you gotta clear your head, and I'm gonna have 5 words for you, and whatever comes to your mind on each word, I want you to say it.
Okay. Whatever comes to my mind.
I don't know about whatever. Filter it out in your head first, then let it go. All right. So my first word, and it's 2 words, is event experience.
Organization.
That's big, and that's something that is not talked about enough. So what is event organization? What does that look like? How is a wellly run show look like from the inside out?
So I've had a lot of employees that have been very successful. I'm not the most organized person, I'll be honest, but I've had employees that are very organized, and it's important. And my brother's one of those people. He's OCD.
Okay.
You know, and my wife does too, ironically. But the thing is that, and they're very organized people. I think that's what really helps them run a successful event. I'm always organized the day of the show.
Okay.
I come prepared.
Yeah.
But I've had people work for me and staff that have just been absolutely incredible and extremely organized. And I think that been one of the main reasons for my success is that I can, know my strengths and weaknesses and know that,
what you need.
What I need. And, organization's so important in being an experienced event promoter.
Okay. That's awesome. Okay. My second word is legacy.
Legacy. First word I think of is Cleveland.
Ooh, I like that. Why Cleveland?
I think of leaving a legacy in Cleveland. I've been working at Peabody. The shirt right here, right? Born and raised in Cleveland, and I've always wanted to leave a legacy here in Cleveland. I've been traveling and going to different venues now that Guerrilla's not around, and I've gone to some of my other, venues now because I'm actually pitching EventWorks to them. I was telling them about the new, when it's ready to go and all that stuff. They've been excited as all hell to use my website. Yeah.
Awesome.
But the thing was as cool is that around the country, Guerrilla was really one of those. It was I built a real institution.
Yeah.
Kind of like what I want to build EventWorks into. And it's got to start from scratch. But what I'm trying to build with it, if I had EventWorks when I had Guerrilla Music, holy shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Oh my God, it would have made Guerrilla Music so much easier, and it would have blown up EventWorks like you wouldn't believe.
Yeah.
So essentially, that was one of the coolest things was knowing. I was in Denver at Cervantes, and just that it was. The bartender told me, he said, "It's so nice to meet you. You have no idea what you did for the local music scene here in Denver and for this venue." And it just makes you feel good. You know what I mean? Inside, it makes you feel really, really good about yourself and what you've been doing.
Yeah.
Especially when you see it on the internet that says you're an asshole. There's literally a website called Nothing But Assholes, and it talks about me being an asshole.
Really?
The good news is if you read the whole thing, it doesn't make me out to be an asshole or a scam, which is great. It actually tells the truth.
Yeah.
It tells about how it is what it is, basically, and groups have to sell tickets.
Yeah.
But if you read the headline, it really sucks. Anyways, the point is that, so those are the type of things that just make you feel good and were great. But the reason I think of Cleveland with the legacy is just, I'm really always thinking about our city and just trying to do whatever we possibly can. Even though I did shows all around the country, I always thought of Cleveland first.
That's awesome. I like that.
And by the way, I'll never move either. Just
really?
So you know, never, ever move.
I wouldn't either.
I'd never move.
I
love the Four Seasons.
Right.
And I love this city. And I love our people. I love the food. And this Northeast Ohio is incredible.
It is. I love it. And even when I was in South Carolina, I always would tell people, I'm coming back. I'm coming back. I have to. But I want to talk, because you spoke on it for a second, but how important to you was different streams of income? Just not relying on one thing. Because you said you would have, if this didn't work, you would have this. You would never fall too far away from the ultimate goal of
when I meant safety nets, I meant investors or credit lines, banks, things like that. However, what you're talking about is, the same thing too, is that like what streams of income. I think I'm way more diverse now in older age. When I was younger, running Peabody's, I was in my 20s without children. So I really just had the one stream of income, and I lived by the seat of my pants and didn't care. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, I was not afraid of anything. There was no risk. There's only one thing I'm afraid of now, and it's my wife. So at the end of the day, it's I wasn't afraid of anything back then, and it was a wild time, and it was risk versus reward once again. Now that I'm older and have 4 kids, you got to be a lot more conservative.
Yeah.
You got to have all the different, your diverse incomes. Right now I have 6 different streams of income.
Wow.
You know what I mean? So I'm a lot more diverse.
They say the average millionaire has 7, so you...
Yeah, I'm getting there. I'm getting there.
Look, we talking to somebody, I like that. Okay.
So that's at the end of the day. It's that's the thing is that I always want to diverse now, but when I was in the music business, to be frank with you, it's so. That's one of the other things the bands don't know. You work so hard as a promoter, and you do. There's so many intricate things to an event that people don't know about that it actually you don't have time to be diverse.
No.
You know what I mean?
Don't.
That's why I had my brother doing the real estate stuff because I had to be devoted into the music business.
You have to know what's going on.
He was even helping me with the music business in the beginning too, and then eventually we built it up slowly for him to be able to do it, part time, then full time, and then me part time, and then full time.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's awesome.
We slowly did that.
How do you get investors when it comes to just being in your 20s, not really having the capital you need to really do what you want?
Your dad was one of the guys that helped me buy the place. The Peabody's got my capital going to Peabody's. Yeah, he helped me with just literally I needed I think it was less than $5,000, but it was something that basically was working capital for me to buy some inventory and have some change. I just needed. I was literally scraping by to get open, and he helped me out. Yeah, your dad did. But yeah, that's basically through Peabody's. It was a friend and family. Through Guerrilla Music, was really wild. That was just from scratch.
Really?
Yeah, it was literally from scratch. Kind of like EventWorks.
Yeah.
EventWorks is from scratch. I literally built the whole website that probably would have cost somebody about $30,000.
Yeah.
Where we're at already at this point. And with all the patents and everything we bought. And I'm only really in it $8,000 hard cash, which is $4,000 because I'm split halfway with my developers.
Wow.
So I had to give up half the business to develop it.
Yeah.
However, I'm not there. It's just the reason I did that was to diverse, but make the idea eventually happen.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, I didn't have the money or the time to make it happen. And by partnering, I could make it happen.
Makes sense.
You know what I mean? Sometimes you got to realize what you can pull off yourself.
Yeah.
Yep.
And what you actually need others for.
So for investors wise too, the easiest way to ever need an investor is when you don't need any money though. It's ironically, it's just like a record deal. The banks want to give money to people that don't need any money.
Yeah.
Which is ridiculous.
Yeah.
But it's the truth. It's like a catch-22 when it comes to investors. But try to build it up yourself. And then another way to do it is obviously, have collateral. If you have collateral or even in skin in the game in some type of loan, and they know that you're going to lose just as much as they're going to lose, they're probably going to loan you the money because they now know that
you'll go harder for it.
Exactly.
Very true. So my third word is talent.
I think a buyer. And the reason for it is just because that's what I was in the music business for so long. I was a talent buyer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
what is that? What is a talent buyer?
So a talent buyer is somebody that talks to agents every day. The agent is the guy that makes 10% typically on booking the artist. Say he books the artist for $10,000, he makes $1,000. The guy that's paying the $10,000 is the talent buyer that works at Peabody's that says and calls up and says, hey, I'll pay $10,000 for whatever X, Y, and Z. I want Mushroom Head to play. I'll give him $10,000, and the tickets are going to be this, that, and the capacity is this. Do you accept these terms? Once they accept the terms, that talent buyer will be the one signing the contract. The agent signs the other contract. So the two different, the buyer and the seller. The buyer is the actual promoter and the venue. Same thing, or sometimes isn't. But the promoter is the buyer, and then the seller is the actual agent that represents the band.
Yeah. That's dope. My fourth word is prolific.
Prolific to me, I immediately think of myself, and the reason for it just means an abundance. And I just put on a lot of events, a lot.
How many events do you say you
I've done over 12,000. I did over 10,000 with
Guerrilla. I did 30 last year, and I thought that was just the most ever anybody could ever do. And you was at 12. You did 52 in one weekend.
Yeah, actually, after that weekend, I flew my whole company to Las Vegas to celebrate.
Really?
Yeah.
You got to.
And it was funny because I was like, "Why my wife party with me? Man, she won't drink. She's going up to the hotel." We were pregnant with our first kid.
Really?
Yeah. So that was our first child.
Wow.
4 into it now, but our first kid. Yeah, thank you. But my whole company, the full-time, not the part-time people that worked at the events, but the full-time people that worked at Cleveland. We flew them all to Las Vegas, and we had a big company party. Guerrilla took over Las Vegas, and we did a show there too. We had a show in one of our clubs in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
So we had a show there, a party there for our staff, and then we all had fun on the strip and just everybody.
So did the show pay for the party?
No. The 52 shows did.
Yeah, okay.
The 52 shows did, for sure. Yeah, so we did that, and we set up a lot of fun. We I got to give a band, Keeping Riley out of New York City, a $25,000 record deal before from doing a national contest. Yeah, we recorded him at Annie Up and put him on a U.S. tour. So we did a lot of fun stuff that it was like gave $5,000 at the Ronald McDonald Fund.
Yeah.
We raised, I think, was it just under $5,000 for the VH1 Save the Music.
Wow.
So we were doing things that just because we had a national thing going on, because it was such value, we could also get donations, and we weren't going around with like a bucket. It was just literally like we would take $1 off of our profits and tell everybody, hey, we're gonna take $1 of our profits from every ticket, and then we would fund some type of charity or some type of like type of thing, just so that we could give back exactly.
Yeah. So how important is give back to you?
Oh, it's more important than anything. It means I've definitely made it, because my goal in life is to actually own a for-profit business that just gives back.
Really?
I'm not a big fan of the non-profit, because I almost started one.
Yeah.
And I didn't really I thought it was like legalized theft.
Really?
Yeah, just because like they only give 6 to 12% to the actual mission, and the rest goes to the administration and fees. So actually, after paying the money to start a nonprofit, I let my attorney just keep the money. I said, don't keep the $1,500. Don't worry about it. I don't want to start one. And I'd like to own a for-profit business that that just was for, like, literally you knew that your money was going to help people. Like, have a mission and really have it where it's like almost like where you could have like an application. Yeah. And you submit in your story and see if the charity can help.
That would be dope.
You know what I mean? Something like that. That'd be a love. That'd be like the greatest thing in the world. Yeah. That'd be so much fun. That'd be my funnest job in the whole world. If you could actually...
It would change the game.
If you could actually just go to work every day and help people, and you had the ability to do so, what other thing could you do with your life?
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean?
I agree. Especially when you get older, like at 15, you don't think that way.
Oh, I never thought that.
But at 20, you start thinking.
My driver's license is 15.
Right. At 20, you're like, how can I help myself get in a better position? But then you're like, at 25, 30, you're like, okay, I've done a lot for myself. How can I help somebody else do what I've done? And I've been blessed to be around people such as you, my father, and just people in high up places that have the heart to give back. And it doesn't. And I always try to tell like people in my generation, like, you don't have to get yours. Get what you need to get to be successful. But always remember, it's always good to give back, and it's always going to be important. And you never see a billionaire that doesn't give back. So if you really want to be the guy, you always have to have that somewhere in your heart eventually to come out. So my last word is music industry.
That's a tough one. Yeah, that's probably the toughest one of all of them. I think of two words: fun and tough. Okay. The reason I think the music industry is one of those businesses that if you have the ability, even if you're in a cover band and you're paying your bills and you're getting to play out 3 to 5 nights a week and you can feed your family and enjoy your life, it's gonna be a fun business. Who cares if you become a rock star? Right. You get to do what you love. And when I was paying, being able to feed my family and being able to be at concerts all the time and help bands and watch, parents just come up to me and be like, dude, they wanted to play this stage more than anything in the world, and I watched my favorite band in the whole world play the stage. Now my son's playing this stage, and they're like getting ready to cry. And it's just those human memories and those experiences that were just incredible. Yeah. You know what I mean? At the end of the day. So that's the fun part of the music industry. The tough part is when those people go, oh man, I'm not Ariana Grande, and I'm not the biggest famous person in the world, and why am I ever doing this? The reason you do it is for the love to begin with. And at the end of the day, it will be tough on you if you want to be the biggest, most famous person on the planet, because there's 10 million other people doing it. You know what I mean? And there's only 100 on the top 100. Yeah. So at the end of the day, it's
some of them got 2 places in it.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's like it's a tough business. However, it's a fun business. Yeah. So that's why that was a tough question, because it's the music industry is it's a wild thing.
It's a lot of lights. But then behind the lights, it's a lot of struggle, hard work,
it is
dedication. Yeah.
Yeah, but if you do all that strong work and all that work and all the dedication, you'll have a lot of fun doing it.
Yeah, I agree. So my last question, and I'll try to leave off with something like this, but you've been dropping jewels the whole time. So my last question is, what advice do you have for entrepreneurs starting out? Like, what type of advice could you give them?
Start tomorrow, or today even. Don't hesitate is the point. Come up with a plan. Have your goals. Write down your goals for the year. Turn those goals into monthly goals. Turn those monthly goals into weekly goals, and now you got that weekly list to figure out your to-do list for the next day. Be organized. That's how banks make their goals. Make your band like a bank and work the same way.
Mm-hmm.
You eventually want a bank to give you money. That's what a record label is nowadays. It's a bank.
Mm-hmm.
So operate that way. Write it down, build your team, read, absorb. One of the biggest things entrepreneurs don't do is take advice well. So,
True.
Go out there and just try to learn as much as you can and, implement it.
I love that. This is Couchtalk with King Teeth. I have Dan the man, Dan the businessman. How can they get in touch with you if they want to get in touch with you?
Well, you can just call me. My cell number is 216-218-4716, or text me if I don't answer. I love helping out artists or promoters, new young promoters. I obviously have a lot of experience, and I had a lot of fun. So I'd love them to have the same type of fun I had with their life. And with artists, I've managed a lot of artists and worked with every agent on the planet, so I've got a lot of experience, and I'd love to help you guys out as well. You can also look me up on Facebook at Facebook backslash or forward slash?
Backslash.
There you go, backslash Dan B. Cull. DANBCULL is my Facebook, and I believe that's my Instagram as well, Dan B. Cull. All right, guys.
All right, this is Couchtalk with King Teeth. Thank you.
Have a great night. Take it easy.
All right. That was good. I like it.
Thanks, man.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me.